Welcome to an absolutely glorious day here in the Scottish Borders. Today we're in Bournemouth, and this is the last of an unofficial series I've been doing about harbours down the east coast from Edinburgh all the way down to Berwick upon Tweed. And Bournemouth is the last of the villages that has one of those sad memorials to the Eyemouth disaster back in 1881. I'm really looking forward to seeing the final one of these memorials. We're starting today's walk here in Upper Bournemouth, but the harbour, as you would expect, is in Lower Bournemouth, which means we have to go down the steep hill to the harbour. Let's go. And do you know what? Right down here, I reckon we've got the East Coast Main Line. That was superb, wasn't it? You might have thought I planned that to the absolute second to see that Azuma train flying past. It was just a complete coincidence. This information board's useful. It says that Bournemouth was once a hotbed of smuggling. All right, let's head down the road. And of course I can see some white horses there through the trees. Ooh, you know, this is actually quite steep. Just look at the blue sky today, and of course, the blue sea as well. And there's some gorgeous cottages around here as well. I'd love to live somewhere secluded like this, wouldn't you? I love the distant sound of the surf. And of course, that amazing sea smell. Some more pretty little buildings as we head further down this steep road. Well, that looks like an old church or a church hall. Okay, let's go and get a closer look at the ocean. Just look at that little row of cottages over there, down on the shoreline. And if we sweep across, we get our first glimpse of Bournemouth Harbour and more cottages beyond. And of course, the steeper it gets going down, I know it's going to be a hell of a slog going back up again. It's a pretty view. There's that row of cottages over there at the cliff base. And here's the harbour. Let's go have a closer look. Lovely dinky little boats down there. Arctic Star, LH592. It's really quiet here. And back up that very steep hill we've just come down. Isn't that pretty? I've just spotted the disaster memorial. It's over there on the harbour wall. Here we go. Bronze by Jill Watson, commissioned by the people of Berwickshire to commemorate the women and children left by the East Coast fishing disaster of 1881. Well, I've now seen all four of these disaster memorials. The one at Cove Harbour, the one at St Abbs, the one at Eyemouth, and here the one at Bournemouth. And remember, each of those figures on top of the memorial, each child, each mother represents part of the families that were left behind by the fishermen that perished. You can really feel the power of history, and I always feel really quite emotional seeing one of these memorials. Actually, I hadn't realised that. This is Scotland's first harbour, as you cross the border from England into Scotland, just above Berwick-upon-Tweed, this is the first harbour you come to. Just look along that rugged coastline, that beautiful contrast between blue sea and rugged cliff face. And here's a pretty row of cottages, and these are all different pastel shades of colour. And in addition to a row of cottages, we've also got a row of birdhouses. How cool is that? Well, it looks like there's one more group of cottages just over here, and then that is the extent of Bournemouth. Let's get a little closer to this final group of cottages. Cowdrate. What an absolutely glorious location this is. Now, just like when I did my vlogs at Cove Harbour, at St Abbs and at Eyemouth, I found some pretty interesting little Airbnbs and some little guest houses. And I think it's the same here. Quite a lot of these cottages are actually holiday cottages or Airbnbs. Okay, let's head back. I'd like to see that other bank of cottages, the ones beyond the harbour, below the cliff tops. When the tide's out, it does look quite stark and rugged, almost lunar, that landscape, but you can see the regular straight lines of these rock formations. That's fascinating. Let's have a quick walk up the other side of the harbour. Now this looks interesting. Look at those coloured doors on these fishermen's storerooms. Let's try going up these steep steps to the top of the harbour wall. Oh. Wow. And that final row of pretty little cottages. Let's get ourselves over there for a closer look. Well, here we are. And it gets prettier the closer you get to them. Aren't they gorgeous? What a relaxing place to stay this must be. Looking back there, I can now see those pastel houses again. Gorgeous. And that looks like the last of them. Looks like some of these cottages have got their own sun terraces right on the shoreline. Fabulous. Well, according to Google Maps, this equally steep path that I'm now on is an alternative way back to Upper Bournemouth. I'm exhausted already, but this path does afford me a final view of Bournemouth Harbour, the memorial down there on the quayside, and the superb coastline beyond. If you haven't seen my other vlogs in this series of harbour visits down the east coast from Edinburgh down to Berwick-upon-Tweed, I've put together a special playlist on the channel that you can use to watch the vlogs. All of those locations of those beautiful, beautiful disaster memorials. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Rog Vlog. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Until the next video, remember, there's always something to see. So get out there and find it.
We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand?